Hey everybody, long time no see. The Hyperloops are unfortunately not back, so I don't want to give you guys a thinking that we are.
We're
This
back.
everyone ignore Cuenca. Fucking take Cuenca. Cuenca's a Cuenca. You never know what's going on. It's a mystery box, right?
Don't call it a comeback.
We've been here for years. So we're back with a spoiler alert. So we were given some spoilers for the new set by the Renewed Hope Committee. You take some time out, talk about some stuff, and probably pretty much just that. Throw it back a little bit. But as always, the Bear and Jay Cuenca returning for duty with Crag in the back. It's Crag, right?
hmm
Yeah.
That's
And
Krang.
Crane. Okay, sorry. I think
Krang.
aggro Crag every time I think about that, and it was like, do you remember the aggro Crag?
I don't. But
Okay.
maybe I'm not hearing you right.
Aggro Crag was from the show with the kids where they were climbing like the mountain thing.
Okay.
It was like the
Okay.
Kid American Gladiator, pretty much.
Okay.
It was at the end, anyways. But
Well, there
yeah,
was like the guts. Are you talking about guts? Do you remember guts? Do you have it? Ooh.
mm, I remember Double Dare, so it might be Guts. It might be. I want to go look it up now,
Oh,
but
you are. Yeah, like the molten Krang.
yeah, but I
Krang.
thought it was the
Yeah,
aggro
Krang.
Crag.
I thought it was the molten crag. But yeah, now I know crag is in like a rock formation. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it was aggro Crag. It was the three-colored mountain thing that they had to go up with the teams. Okay, it
Yep,
was
yep,
indeed
yep.
the aggro
No,
Crag.
yeah, that's. I think that's guts. That's
Okay,
guts.
probably is. This is how screwed up and how old we are, right? Like we can barely remember what this crap is, but it sticks with us for eternity. But
Absolutely.
so how you been, Cuenca? How you doing?
I'm living, man, and I'm having a good time. I started a new job, as a lot of people know. Been getting harder and harder. I have more responsibilities, which is uh is interesting for me because I'm used to like my job not having a lot of responsibilities just
Mm-hmm.
because I was working security. Not that we didn't have responsibilities, but there was a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
And here it's like max no downtime. And that's been an adjustment. My boss is also like a very smart, like capable individual, so he's kind of like he has that. You know how like a lot of people like just don't understand like when you can't do things as like fast as like they can.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he sort of like doesn't understand that like haven't been doing this for 12 years as opposed to him. So it's just like I've just been doing this for like 2 months, and you gotta relax a little bit. But it's great. I feel 100% job security because I'll give you a little short story, just between you and me, Joe. But we
and all the listeners.
Yeah, so we hired another. There's another person that got hired at the same time,
Yeah.
and she's been not as good, I think, as he expected.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I think that it's I'm just I, I I suspect that like my job security is good as long as she's still
Still
there, right?
around.
Because like I'm not gonna get fired.
You got the fall guy. It's like the
I
person when you're driving on the highway, right? And you got the person in front of you that's going way faster than you, and you're like, that's the guy that gets pulled over. I'm in the clear.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'll tail behind like 3 miles per hour and I'll be cool. Yeah, exactly. So, I suspect that like things are okay on that end. So that's good. I got vaccinated, second shot, for those who like to get shots. So I've been seeing my friends more, and that's been awesome. I'm actually going to go out and do a magic draft, like IRL magic draft with some friends, which I don't even like magic, but like I'm freaking down, man. I'll just like hang out and like shoot the shit, and yeah, it'll be the first time in like maybe 2 years or like we'll all be together. Yeah, so things are good. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm glad to hear stuff's going good to your side. So I actually got picked up. I was contract worker initially, and they hired me full time, so that's great. Low man on the totem pole, but it's fine. I don't have, I don't have the person to take the bullet for me, so I got to make sure that I'm on top of my game. But that's
Right.
sweet. I will say though, and it's weird because like I say this and people are like, huh? This is my first paid holiday off in my life. Memorial Day tomorrow. First time I've had a day off where I was paid for it in my entire life. Yeah, and it sounds weird, but it's self-employed. Like I didn't work and got paid. Those existed, but like it wasn't where someone literally paid me and I did nothing. And I was like, oh, okay. So sweet stuff. And yeah, just kind of like scary times, right? You're always just like worried about everything and trying to get stuff done. But that's life.
Yeah,
So
it's a beautiful thing, man. When you get paid and you don't have to go and work, that's great.
honestly, the ability to clock out and just not be bothered with work is amazing. There's still it's weird because like I kind of got into this and I was like not expecting to actually still have to deal with not clients per se, but as much as like just still dealing with people. And instead, I'm still here sending emails to people and trying to reach out and grab information. And I'm like, I wasn't supposed. You were supposed to just give me grunt work and throw me to the wolves. Like, go work for 8 hours a day on all of this. Grr. Instead, I'm like reaching out, trying to get information. And it's like, oh, customer service. I thought I was out of this. I thought I escaped. Never. But all right, enough about us. Let's get straight to the spoilers before this turns into some ridiculously long podcast. So. In typical Hyperloop fashion, we will say nothing about anything because we don't love you. Wait, no, that means we say everything about everything because we do love you. So, first up, we have Plan Ahead. Zero cost, red neutral, event. Resolve up to 3 of your red dice, each showing a different symbol. You want first or second on this, Quinka?
I'll go first. Why not?
Yeah.
Start off strong. I just want to double check your video is working okay because I don't see you, but that's fine if it's on your end because you're recording.
It is working. I'm sorry about
Okay.
that. I can flip
No,
it
that's
over to
fine.
your... No. It's easy for me to actually just turn it
I
on.
mean, I can see the card. I have it in on my
Yeah.
computer. I have the technology.
You can put it up now. Sorry about that.
All right. Oh, you good? You good?
Quink is
Oh,
talking to a black screen by himself.
I'm literally talking to your face, and then a green like pop up and up when you talk. So, but no, it's fine. Plan ahead. I don't like these kind of cards. I never have. Just by on the surface, it's bad. I could see maybe some type of I don't know, man. Like any kind of such like if there's like something that like lets you search for these and it's like part of a combo, then it might be okay. But as a card that I like want to naturally draw, it's like more like I want no part of this because I just want to make sure that I read it correctly because it's so bad in my mind. Resolve up to 3 of your red dice, each showing a different symbol. Now, you keep them? Do you keep them in the pool?
No.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure because that in my mind I was like, all right, that's really good then.
Yeah,
I
resolve
was just
without
like,
removing? That'd be broken. We have
yeah, that
one
would
that resolves like a resource and doesn't remove it. It resolves like a value 1 and doesn't remove it.
right. Yeah, I know it's crazy. I was just trying to think of a way like oh like this is like it's so funny that they gave you this card as a card to spoil like wow watch out, got plan ahead. Watch out, this is the card that everyone's been like juicing for.
uh,
But yeah, go ahead, Joe. Yeah, I don't like this card.
no, finish because it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I just thinking basically, unless there's some card that like lets you like search for these specifically, and they're like free cards in your deck, then I don't see any point for them. Like if there was like some characters that come into play, and then you're like, okay, search for a card, and you plan ahead, and then you're like, okay, it's a free card, it gets drawn. I think that could be an interesting mechanic. Like if you had like a support that it's like I don't know, like the ship that Rose is on, and it's like search your deck for a plan ahead or 2 plan aheads or something like that. And then you're like, all right, they're free cards, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be an interesting design where you like a lot of games have that where you like just get kind of bad cards, but you get extra cards. And you're like, okay, they're rerolls, whatever, sure. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
So yeah, generally this is like atrocious, right? But it costs 0, so luckily we started at the first part. The big part for it though is not necessarily mono red, but heavy red decks, and if you have 2 focus sides. Because if you have a 2 focus side, now you're talking about okay, resolve the 2 focus, flip 2 red dice to whatever sides you wanted, and resolve them. The problem is it has to be different symbols. So like if you want to come in with like a big hit, you're gonna need like melee and ranged. Um, but you can do like disrupt and damage, disrupt and resource. So like it's weird because like normally, generally for us, we don't kind of put in cards in the deck that speed up our action pacing in a roundup. So there has to be like a real value to this. So we would really have to have like something with range, something with melee, maybe some insanely good effect. But the die side's only on like one thing, right? Like Veteran of War. Okay, you resolve a focus, flip the Veteran of War to a special, resolve that special, resolve some other die for +1, like do silly stuff. So like without focus, I really dislike this card a lot. But if you have enough, red dice and 2 focuses, then you could kind of get somewhere.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I just like it's like a card I don't want in my opening hand, right? Because you just don't have enough dice. And then it's like, oh, you like randomly draw it at the right time when you like roll in with your two, you still have to roll your 2 focus. I mean, obviously would have liked this card way more if it was like resolve one of them at +1 and the other two is normally. Or like, even if it was like one die, I don't know, just like it just feels like it's just kind of a card that's just gonna like no one's gonna like someone might use it because they just want the action efficiency and then like your deck gets paid off really heavily for that and like
yeah,
maybe in that spot it's good but those decks I've tried playing decks like that before and they've just never been good so
yeah,
I'm hesitant to say that a card like this will be good in a deck like that. I might, I just played so many decks to try to do stuff like that, and like, oh, your battlefield's good, and you want to be able to claim it, and or like my character has like some payoff for me to keep the initiative and keeping the battlefield and all that stuff like that. But I don't know, it doesn't do it for me.
yeah. It needs a lot to go with it. You have to be playing like a very specific deck. The one
Yeah,
thing the one thing I would be interested in finding out though is if it's checking the symbols as they resolve or before. Like so generally when we resolve dice, if they're not the same symbol, we resolve them one at a time. So let's
right.
say I
Yeah,
have a 2 focus die, I don't know, a blank and like a disrupt. Do I choose the 3 dice, then resolve the focus and maybe be able to go range and resolve them? Because
yeah.
they were
I
three
think
one
that's a good
three
point.
different when I picked them. But if it's as you resolve, then that would kind of stink because like you can't get nearly as far ahead.
I think it works the way you want it to because it doesn't like target them. That's what in my mind that's how it would work. But again, I'm thinking like best case scenario. One thing I will say is that I just thought of is that like maybe in a discard deck this could be good because if you had like a 2 focus like 2 discard, those decks generally want to go faster and claim their battlefield so that you do get a little bit more value, but it being specifically red is limiting there. But you like even if you have like a 1 focus and like another die that has a 2 discard on it, you've lost a card, but you've sped up. And a lot of times in those decks, like they'll remove your 2 discard and they'll just up a card. But now it's like, you've essentially done more damage to them. So I don't know. I could see something like that being like
Hmm.
kind of interesting, but again, being mono red is a bit limiting.
So I think there was a card that we talked about before. I'm gonna call it Screech, but that's not his name. It was in Redemption. He had two focus sides, I think, and I think he had a 2 discard and a 2 disrupt. So like in theory, there, if you like 2 focus into 2 disrupt and 2 discard or something like that, that would be really disgusting, right? Like if you just
Yeah.
knock their hand out and ate their resources out of nowhere, they'd be like, oh shit. So like I think there, like you said, with discard it would have play because you need to kind of be fast enough. And it would just sneak and get people because they'd be like, oh, I have an action before whatever happens, and you're like, no, you don't. You don't have anything. Sibo was his name. Yeah, he has a 2 disrupt and a 2 discard side to go with 2 focus red sides. So
Yeah.
that
Does
that
seem does
yeah,
seem like they were kind of thinking about him when they made this card.
maybe that would make the absolute most amount of sense. And I think we
He's
had some.
hero.
No, he's villain. This is neutral.
Oh, this is neutral. That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah.
right. But still, that's fine.
Yeah. So it's like okay, there we go. There's your action. You want to Sibo some people? There you go, baby. Plan ahead. Sibo, got you.
Yeah, but then you're like Seaboing, and then you need that third die, or you need like you know what I mean. Like since it's mono red, and you need like another mono red character, and now you play like mono red villain, and you're just like, do you really want to be playing mono red villain? Like I've tried playing mono red villain so many times, it's
You
just never
no,
good.
no, you don't go mono red because Sibo's elite, I think. And then it was there was like a 7 point character that you run it with. that like you can go Kendall Ozzel or something like that. That'll put you at like 20, and then you can go 10.1 die character, or go Elite Ozzel and then run like an 8. You'll start with 4 red dice. So there's some action there. And Ozzel
Yeah.
also has like a discard side. I don't know why you would want that one, but there's some action there. But there
Yeah.
was a detect guy I think we wanted before, from the set before. I don't remember his name. I remember he was really bad though. Oh, Isb Agent. That's what it was. Isb Agent has a discard and a disrupt side to go with the detect, and he has a 1 focus red as well as a resource. So uh, ISB plus Elite Sibo sets you up for 3 red dice to start and can give you that action that you want. 2 focus into like a 2 discard and a disrupt, and they're just like, oh, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I also find the 2 to 3 different symbols. Like I think you could have maybe done without that. Maybe that's too busted. I don't know.
I think they just didn't want it to be like one of the damage things where like you 2 focus into like double
Two
range
for
damage and you just jam that
yeah.
in, yeah. People are really like, I don't want action cheats or whatever stuff. I don't want my guy to randomly die, and I don't have to worry about this stuff. And it's like, well, play the damn game. Like this
Well,
card's sketch.
that's the I mean that's the thing about it is that like you don't want action cheating, but you make like bad action cheating that just doesn't get played. So it's just like, what's the point of designing a card like that when you're not actually like you're pushing the design in a way where like sure like no one likes this sort of thing when it happens.
Hmm.
We're like okay we'll try to make it fair, and it's just like is this fair like is it fair if it like pops off in the way you want it to pop off like I could see like some scenario where like you get like 2 cards discarded, you get disrupted for 2, and like is that really like something that you want to be playing against? Like is that like an outcome that like design wants to happen when it's like oh yeah I did it, and then your opponent's just like that was stupid, like I can't play the game anymore.
Yeah, but that's
Oh.
fine. They fell for it. They should have spent their money, suckers.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean that's fair.
yeah, like
That's
yeah.
I
Mm,
I mean
go.
I don't have no problem with pushing it a bit, but I'm just saying that like if you want to do it one way, maybe they just like okay, action cheating damage is not good, but action cheating discard and disrupts are like something that we don't have, or having like a sampler of like
Yeah.
discard and damage.
Well, to be fair, the die had to get rolled in first, right? You'd have to have the dice in the pool to like get the sneaky thing going.
Right.
So, and you had to run this card and draw it. I'm okay with that point. Like I used to run random crap like this. There was some lead card I ran that would cost like 7, and you had to have like a bunch of different die sides, and it like pumped
Oh
the value.
yeah, yeah. I tried that card. That did not go well.
Lead from the front. I ran that in droids, and I was like, this is fine. I'll have 7 different die sides, and I'd pay like 1 or 2 for it, and be like, oh, this 2 or 1 focus is 2. Flip these, kill your guy, and it's just like, yeah, what? Or like disrupt all your resources, and people are like, no, and that gave +1 value. So like, this is like, cost 0, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean zeros are hard to design honestly because
Yeah,
like we've had so many like when you see like an obviously good zero, you're like all right, it's gonna go in my deck. Like it's a good zero that like deals with a die or like is above curve in damage or
hmm,
something like that.
gotta love
Yeah,
it.
I mean it's fine. I mean I'm fine with it. It's just it's like one of those weird cards. Like it does feel like a card that like a real Destiny designer would make. So it's
Yeah,
just like okay, like I get this would be like some like common or like an uncommon and like in a real like designed like Destiny format that I would like never look at. Just be like I would like maybe look at it in the context of like really specific stuff like you're saying, but then I would just like not want to play those decks because like A, you don't draw it, B, you draw it at the right time. It's like super specific. Like you
hmm.
don't draw your disrupt, like yada yada yada. All that stuff. So,
I
yeah.
think this will also be really good with 2 resource red sides. If any dice has like
Yeah.
2 resources, like imagine you had crate and you're like, all right, I'll focus the resource, 2 resources. Like, oh shit, because like you got to
Yeah, I
sneak
mean if
those
you
in
get
sometimes.
like 4 resources off of 3 dice, then you're like kind of so that's fine.
Yeah, but you can't get the 4 resource thing because of different symbol, I think. But like I just mean even
Oh,
getting
that's
2.
right. Yeah.
If this is like a ghetto reap, sometimes you'll still play a ghetto reap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair
but
enough.
all right. So we're on to the main event now. We had to get this one out of the way. This is like the like boxing match, right? That first one no one really cares about, no one really watches. But but now the unveiling, the return. Droids, 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 droids,
That's why we
droids,
came
droids.
out of retirement just for droids.
Yeah.
or you know,
Not so retirement. Like a this is like a blip in the road. This is like the throwback
yeah,
party again.
yeah. This is when you play like pickup basketball on a Sunday after you've been a professional, I guess.
Yeah, and then you just remember you're old. And you're like, oh,
Yeah,
this doesn't feel so
yeah.
good. All right. Do you want to read it? I'll give it to you. So all you
All
baby.
right. We're doing R2 first,
Yeah.
right? So we got R2D2. He costs 1. He's red. His sides are 1 melee, 1 focus, 1 disrupt, 1 shield, 1 resource, and a special. He's a support droid, and his special says, resolve another side of this die. Um, you can start because I started.
That's fine. But I'm gonna run with this one. So,
Run
what if
hard.
I told you we gave you a new one drop BB-8, but the BB-8 can't attach? So you're like, oh, well, that's not so good. But then I was like, well, it has 2 focus sides, 2 disrupt sides, 2 resource sides, and the other ones you don't actually care about. And you'd be like, wait, that's 6 sides. Why don't I care about the rest? And it's only because the special lets you resolve as another side. So you get the freedom to pick what you need if you had it, right? So, a one cost support with essentially double resource sides, real strong. And you get to kind of decide whether that's a focus now or this is a disrupt. Even random 1 damage when you need to go for a kill. So like those late game situations where you're trying to hit the 1 and 6, this is a 1 and 3. And for 1 resource cost, like this is really good. It's not, oh my god, this ends the world, this ends the game. But if you needed some access to cheap focus or, some pseudo, not rail ramp, I guess, but just kind of that overall value, this is reminiscent of like the old blue R2. This is red, so, and hero. This is kind of one of those things where like you're overall content. You pay 1 resource. If you hit focus, disrupt, resource, or special, 66% of the die, you're just in a good spot. So I think this will probably see play on the fringe index, but it should definitely take up a dice spot as long as you're not trying to be super fast. It just gives you lots of efficiency, lets you do stuff later in the round, get you that beautiful focus or disrupt to harass people. I think it's hard to go wrong here.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a he's a he's solid. It's like it's sort of the homage to the old droid decks, right? So now you have a R2 that you can play, and he's red, so it's like a little bit different. Um, and you can play C3PO with him, and then character C3PO, and you'll get that little benefit. And just as like a little like 1 cost little guy, he's good. He's fine. No one's like but it's all about the synergy, right? Like if you get to play like old C3PO with this, you kind of have to try it, and that's fine. I think that people were, let's say, upset that you couldn't play droids together, but now you have sort of like now you have options, right? Now you can
Hmm.
play. Now you can actually like pop off the C3PO ability in a deck, and it won't be super busted because it won't be super busted, and it won't be super consistent because you have to draw the R2.
Hmm. To me, that's still, oh my god, dude, I'm back to 3. I would be playing some 3PO right now. I'd be forcing it, and I'd be like, look, this guy's on the table. And they're just like, yeah, I don't care. And it's like, yeah, you don't care till I play this 1 cost resource dude. And then, like, now you're like, oh god, I gotta get rid of him. Because 3PO is just gonna be whopping that value, baby. Any action cheats? 2 focus. Let's go. Kill guys. Make plan ahead look like crap. Because C3PO got his buddy back. 2
Yeah, you don't have
resources.
to, and he's red, so you got like so much play there, right? With colors,
Yeah.
you get.
I want to be red blue. I'm going to go with 19 point Qui Gon. I want yellow. I'm going to go with 19 point Obi.
I do
19
love me
point.
some. I do love Big Qui-Gon. It's cool.
Yeah, man. Big Qui Gon. I don't know. I like the theory behind like Obi there, right? Because you're just like, oh, like you get that sweet action. If you're just jamming 2 resources or two focuses into big damage is massive, right? You're just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think the R2 is playable by himself just for being like focus um, resource. So like, even without the disrupt, you're 50% happy with the die. That's hard to come by, especially for 1. It's a lot of value. I think this would be Eric Wainwright approved for R2 minus the fact that he's not blue. Poor
Yeah.
Wainwright.
And do you think that he's um like you're fine with his die side. You think that it could have been pushed a little bit in some way. Like I think obviously putting like a 2 anywhere there is a bit crazy. But I think that special could have maybe been different. I don't know what your thoughts are there. I wrote some stuff down as potential things that would obviously make him better. I don't know if it would make him that much better. I mean, it would obviously make him like if it was the original, the blue R2 ability, like the one cost one where you like focused and draw a card.
Yeah, I think this is arguably, hmm, I'd say arguably better because that R2, if I'm not mistaken, had two specials on him for
Yeah,
the
he did.
focusing, but he didn't have a regular focus. So when you special this, you can do the focus. You obviously don't get the draw, but that R2 couldn't like disrupt as easy or resource as easy. So if you play this guy and you hit the 1 and 3, you could just decide your resource because you don't need focus and pay for himself and keep going. And like
So,
the ability to adjust, I think is just massive. It's only a 1 and a 6 to adjust, but the value there, I think, is really good. And the ability to like, oh, I needed the 1 damage, cool. Like you have those odds now, like kind of in your favor for whatever side you're looking for, just because you have the access to the special.
and so what about the first R2, which was uh, resolve a die, increasing it by 1. So you resolve another die, but you increase it by 1.
I think you had to remove that R2 though, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so. Well, I mean, I'm just saying special resolve another die, increasing it by 1.
Oh, okay, I remember that guy. Sorry about that. Yeah, but that guy cost two.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that would be the special, like sort of like an homage to that R2, and then the sort of having like him costing 2 was horrible, and that's why he was unplayed.
Yeah,
So
if that R2 had cost one and it was here, that thing would be busted.
yeah, okay,
Well, because that shield would have been replaced by another special.
yeah. Well,
And
that's what I'm saying is that now you just have one special. It's like
and it would
you
just
know,
resolve one of your dice, increasing the value by one.
yeah, it
I think it'd be worse.
could be worse. Okay.
It's only because so base theory here. If you don't have another die, you still got whatever effect here, right? If you had a single
Right.
resource, you could resolve it, and you have two resources, but you could just pick the resource side on this. If you had a disrupt, you could do that. So it's like outside of just like kind of like oh I did like into like a bigger focus because you can't like this guy can special chain, whereas the other one couldn't. Or actually, no, he could because you could resolve the special, choose another focus die to resolve pump. It just stunk when you didn't have a bunch of additional dice, right? Like
Yeah, of
opponents
course.
could eat whatever die they were concerned about you pumping, and then you're like, oh, like this isn't so good. And he had cost two because he's a bum. But yeah, I'd like this R2 a lot, and I would be trying to force 3PO all over the place.
All over the world, R2 and C3PO are back, baby. Yeah.
It's like Abed and Troy. You can't take them apart. You can't you can't keep them apart. They're always gonna come back. They're friends.
There you go. Yeah, you watched that show? That
Uh,
show's awesome.
Community's a good show. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't remember any of
recommend.
the stuff. It's like this is Abed and Troy. Oh, is it
Abed
Troy and
and
Abed? No, it's
Troy
Troy and Abed. Troy and
nights.
Abed
Troy and Abed.
making pancakes, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
But all right. So last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend. C3PO returns
Woo.
in a gray form. One cost, obviously unique. Focus. Sorry, one focus, one discard, one resource, special, and a blank. Oh, we didn't talk about that R2. No blank is great. Support droid. Special. Resolve up to two of your dice, increasing their values by one if you spend a resource or spot R2D2. Um, you take this one first, because I have feelings.
Well, I mean, well, it's funny we were talking about this is sort of like segueing and getting 2 dice for the cost for when you have R2 is obviously nuts,
Mhm.
right? Um, and I don't want to say too much because we previously talked about it a little bit, so I don't want to steal your thunder on a lot of your points.
It's fine. Go for it.
But well, like obviously, like now you get to play this with R2, like blue R2, and that's obviously gross. So I think that's really nice. because R2 has a lot of good sides that are kind of derpy, but like when you get like a resource and a one melee off of R2, it's like it's all right, and like he can auto flip to the one of his own die, but now you can if you have R2, you can flip to the two, and then you can do like two and whatever else's side that he has that I'm sure was like fine. So like if he rolled three, now you can do five, and this is like a one cost that deals two. Like obviously it's only one side for the special, which is a little bit annoying, but I do believe that R2 will be able to flip this side to the special, which is pretty sweet, and so you get that value and 19 more points to play, and you could do mono blue with Qui-Gon, or some other 19 blue, and have a another color, which people seem to be a fan of. So the fact that he's great, you can play him with R2, gives you a lot of flexibility. I don't know. I don't know if I like him aside from like playing with R2, just because. Yeah, I mean it's like the paying one for that effect is like okay, but like early on it does kind of hurt a bit, and then you're sort of like it feels very similar to like the old blue R2D2, and fan of two focuses. He has the resource to pacer itself. Guards, whatever, but sometimes it comes in handy. But yeah, no, I like him a lot. I think he's like well balanced. Uh, it's just like the fact that R2 can just get to that special every time is like just pretty gross.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I'll let you run with the rest.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously turning on the old R2 effect so you can just focus any single die to whatever side you want. Very good. I think like let's say we remove R2 from the equation. We just straight 3PO. It's a one cost gray support. We're looking at focus, resource, and then a special that can funnel money into pumping value. If you wanted to have like a focus fire, right, you would pay one and deal, two extra damage via resolving two of your dice at a pumped value. Intense fire, stuff like that. So like it's like okay, if I have damage going, I can pay one resource funnel in for two extra damage, give you some range. I could pay a resource to resolve like my resource die to get +1, so that pays it back, and
Yep.
resolve some other die at +1 value. And it's like okay, like that's not amazing there if you're getting damage. It's really good if you're getting like disrupt. It can be really good if you're hitting like discard sides, right? Because this one doesn't limit you like plan ahead, where they have to be a specific, different symbols or whatever. So we could two
Right.
single discards now turn into two discards. Whole
Yeah, and
hand's
that's
gone.
pretty.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah. So like once we put R2 in the equation, it's like oh this is an auto include in every deck that has R2. This is even something where you may even decide to just straight run R2. You're gonna R2 is gonna get a full on focus. And if you go to these specials, we could be talking like big chunks of values on resources. Because, now if this special is just going like, all right, I burned my R2 focus to go to special here, you could be getting +2 resource now, or, +2 damage still, or whatever, and you're not paying for it. So not paying for that is a really, strong point. The only thing I hate about him is this discard side. If that was a resource side, he'd just be a 2 of in like every deck I have, I think. Or he'd at least be a 1 of. And everything with R2 would be an obvious 2 of. But I'd probably consider running him with the actual R2 support if I didn't have those characters. But that's much harder to come by, right? Because then you'd have to hit both of them to get the effect going. You don't really necessarily care too much about the other R2 because he doesn't get an extra benefit from playing this one. And he's sitting on like a similar number of focus sides and whatnot. So I think the R2 itself ends up being better, but because this is gray, you're like, oh, I'm mono blue. I need some access to extra focus for cheap. Bam, 3PO's here to help you out. And now he can just put in some extra damage if you need, or extra shields, or whatever's going on. And I think that's massive. I think this guy's really good. Not broken per se, but real nice, real consistent. And who actually wants to roll dice to see what side you hit? I don't.
Yeah, I just it's so brutal. Like if you have R2, and then you get like 19 other points to work with. It's just so disgusting because it's like now you have C3PO and R2, and R2 is just nuts, and it's like R2 is nuts, and then C3PO having that special online for free is super nuts. So it's like it puts you in a really hard spot to like decide who you're gonna go for. In like a three wide deck, I think it gets kind of obvious that all right, well, we just kill R2 as fast as possible. So
Yeah.
uh,
But you could have one die
Um,
R2 there. Do you really want to kill a one die R2?
well, yeah, there's also that. That's true. Like if you have 22 points and then you have like a 12 and then like 10 or whatever, and yeah, it's like the cheapest character, but he's super powerful because of you have C3PO. So yeah, it's very interesting, and in a lot of ways, it's actually kind of better. It could be better in lineups where you're just like you obviously don't have the starting team, but if you only pay 8, and then you draw this guy, and you got to believe that you're going to be mulliganing for this guy when you have like R2 in your deck, you're just gonna you're gonna put yourself in a really your opponent's gonna be in a really hard position.
Yeah, because like the focus is just really good value, and as always, if we have to sit there with Ewok ambushes, all of a sudden R2's focus becomes real disgusting. Hey R2, pick up this Chewbacca's blaster. Okay. Oh no, you just be living flashbacks of the old days where you just got like brutalized, right? Roll this 3PO. Okay, Ewok ambush. Roll this thing out. Like, all right, what do I want to focus? Oh, I hit 2 good sides already. Let's go to the special. Let's crack it up. That guy's dead. Get out my face. And it's just like, man, this 8-point scumbag just like ruined my life. It's like, yup.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that they just come out with new R2s and C3POs. I think in their format, is R2 and C3PO, are they going to rotate soon?
Uh, yeah, they'll rotate when that whole block rotates out, though.
Yeah. So
So
you'll have this sort of shenanigans for a while, and then at that point it's like I think they're still fine, but it's not going to be as good.
yeah, it should be after this. So this set drops. It should be the set after is the rotation of convergence. In a lot of their quote unquote problem areas, but we'll see what kind of end up coming out by then. I can still see myself running these guys. Like I do like the
Oh
R2.
yeah. Yeah.
I think if you can't automatically get to this special though with 3PO, I'm not like as large of a fan.
Right.
But if you can find ways to get to this and have the pump value access, this is one of those dice where your opponent might have to just remove it every time they see it if there's like an action cheap like resolution coming. Um, Especially with that R2, you'd see this and be like, nope, that guy's got to go. Like get him out of here. And I don't know. It's I like it just in the standpoint from without that stuff, and then when you include it, it's like, oh, this is an easy decision.
Yeah. And there is some sort of some synergy, but like with plan ahead, right? Like if you have a million dice out, like you can do some really interesting things, right? So
Yeah, but that's with
there's
red. You have to have all red for that.
yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, screw that card.
Droid's Day Out, baby. Get the 3PO and the other stuff going. I don't know how you're
Yeah,
gonna resolve there.
I always wish that not Droid's Day Out, but the card that brings back a droid and puts a bunch of mods. I always wish that card was somehow better because I
It's
loved.
better now. You can run
Yeah,
Chopper with these.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So like,
Uh,
we lost BB-8. BB-8 was the biggest one that was good at that because what happened with BB-8 is he would come in, activate with all the stuff. Then you would attach him to a vehicle and throw all the crap back in the trash, and then play the next one and bring a guy back. And we're like, oh, let's go. But the problem was is that the droids available were terrible. You had to like
yeah,
bring a bones out of the yard or like, yeah, it's pretty much a bones. And I was just like, I don't want any part of that. But if we can chopper and like do whatever stuff, and then pull like a 3PO or an R2 out of the bin and pick up all those equips for free, oh, we're going. We're going.
good to go. We're good to go.
Yeah, we got a pile of crap in our deck that's awful, but like it's hilarious.
It is, it is. And yeah, I mean, I wish there were more decks like that in Destiny, right? Like sort of create like a discard pile decks that sort of you could build around that sort of thing. And the issue is obviously milling is brutal in this game and very real, so it's hard to. But that's the life you live. You try to go for the gusto.
Ugh. I'm trying to think of what that card now was. I feel like it was like it wasn't disintegrate or something or like reanimate. Ugh. I can't.
Reassemble?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Reassemble
Yeah,
sounds
maybe.
right.
Off the dome, straight off
Yeah.
the dome.
Play a droid support from your discard pile, then play up to 3 upgrades that have modified droid from your discard pile onto that droid support, decreasing each of their cost by 1. So you could pick up a
Yeah.
bunch of like grappling arms and red arm. What the hell's the red arm called?
Uh,
Ugh.
I remember reassemble, but now what Red Arm is.
It's the
Yeah,
damn chopper upgrade. We always run it. Increase the
yeah. I
value
mean,
by 1.
the card was insane.
Oh, salvage arm, salvage arm.
Salvage Arm, yeah. There it is.
Got there. All right. But yeah, so I think these are really good. They're not on the side of like completely broken, but I can tell you right now that if you're ever playing actual R2 and you play the 3PO support or the vice versa 3PO with the R2 support, your opponent's going to be mad as shit because there's going to
Yeah.
be so much value coming your way, and they won't know what to do with it besides run in and try to kill your guy.
Oh yeah. So to my point before, and I know we're going a little long, but the it is interesting that design wanted to go this way after they, because I think the people who are responsible for like the ban list and whatnot, or like the restricted list, they're the ones who design these. So there's like, oh, we don't want any C3PO and R2, and then like, all right, let's just put some C3PO back in.
Hey man, I was asking for it. I was like, look, give me a support. Like it doesn't have to even be that good. I just wanted a support. And then we left. So maybe we pushed them to do it. We left, and then they were like, man, because we got rid of the droids. And so like, let's bring them back. Maybe they'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am interested to put these cards on the table and see what happens, just because it is powerful. I suspect I haven't caught up with what the I don't know if like DM is still around with the lists and whatnot. I assumed
Well,
that we would have had like a random podcast about it.
from what I heard, Viga's been running around with pretty much like Vader and Savage and just ruining people. So here goes, guys. Here's the deck. You ready? One die Grease, one die Leia, one die three. Oh no, 3PO's 9. Damn. Okay, one
Oh,
die R2, uh, Rescue Han, and then you just jam out a 3PO and go. Like Grease finally dies, and then R2's finally up a line, and they're just like, no, I can't stop it. You got like Ewok ambushes to like get these action cheat ruin people's lives. You bring it back to the old days. It is a 3 die start, so don't hate me. Uh, but that's it right there.
Joe playing a 3 die start. The world's gone mad.
It's a 3 die start, but it's not right because like Leia's ability and R2's ability and
Right.
Grease's ability, and then we got a Rescue Han. So it's like this quasi 6 die start. But yeah, there
No,
you go.
is that gonna be is that a 3 rescue Han or is that a 2 rescue Han?
It's a 2 Rescue Han because Leia made it one cheaper, but Leia got nerfed. If Leia didn't get nerfed, it'd be a 3 Rescue Han. Rescue Han comes out with 2 dice, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We just needed health because we're just playing a bunch of supports. We're playing like
Did
16.
Leia get bumped up to a 16?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that card seemed really good, so I won't lie.
yeah. If you get rid
Didn't
of
get a
Rescue
chance.
Han, you can get real 3PO, but like then you're still 3 die start without Rescue Han, and that feels bad. Because once you rescue Han, oh my god, everyone hates life. They're like, I gotta do 12 more, and it's like, yup. And you know what's gonna happen? You're not getting that far. Because most people can't do like the 40 damage that's required to get
Yeah.
the distance. Not while Leia's being a jerk with all the shields. The deck's
Yeah,
so good.
I'm also wondering, I don't recall this. Did they ever make a Mandalorian and like a Baby Yoda? Like, have they done that yet?
There is a Mandalorian. Do you want to see it?
Oh, is it new? I mean, we
Yeah, it's
could.
new. It's not
Surprise.
secret. They posted it in the channel.
Oh.
Yeah. So 1 second. Yeah, there is a Mandalorian, and you might cream your pants.
Oh.
Okay. Is Din Djarin.
Din Djarin.
Yeah. 1 second. I
Let
got
me
a
see
I got a
if I
picture
can.
coming in
Let me
hot
see
for
if I
you.
can find it here.
No,
I'm
that's
curious.
fine.
I think I might have glanced at it,
It's fine. I
but I
posted it.
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure whose that was. If it was like the continuation committee or like one of the other random groups that's making cards.
Uh, it was iRebels, and I think it was like a week or so ago.
Hmm.
It was back on the 18th, so it was like 2 weeks ago. So don't hate me, Jedi Geek Girl. uh, don't hate me. All right, I posted it in the loops thing. Did you see it? We gotta give Quenka some time to read it real quick.
All right, I'll read it for everyone who hasn't seen it either. Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, 14 health. He's yellow. 2 range, 3 range, 2 melee, 2 disrupt, 2 shield. Character bounty hunter. Power action. Play an upgrade on this character, giving it ambush. After you activate this character, if one or more of its character dice are showing damage, you may gain 1 resource. If one or more of its wow. And it is 14, 18, 22. 3 dice start with 1 character. What? And he has Baby Yoda in the picture, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, That's pretty awesome. I mean, I think that 3 dice start like just right off the rip. So it's a is so what are they calling it instead of elite? Is this like omega elite or like super elite
I don't
or
know. I would just call it try, whatever. I don't care.
I don't know like king? I don't know. So three elite. Yeah. So he's 14 one single die, 18 elite, and 22 mega elite. Please comment in the comments to let
Uh,
us know
in the
what you
sport,
think it should be called.
in the spoiler, they said double elite.
Double elite. Okay. I don't like that. I think they should have a different thing.
Uh,
Let's make something happen.
I remember we were trolling somebody and we were calling it Trilight. I can't remember who it was.
Uh,
I think it was Bounce. Was it Bounce
how
we were
about
calling it Trilight?
Emperor? Emperor maybe.
Yeah.
2 die elite. Three die Emperor. Or,
I don't know.
elite Emperor 22. I'm going Emperor 22. uh, yeah. So I don't know. This card seems awesome. Seems really fun. Does a lot of damage. Gives some resources. For this is kind of flavorful. Like, he was such a badass in the show, and giving him 3 dice, I think, is pretty, pretty worthwhile. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the breakdowns. Like, what do you get? Like 4 dice. Yeah, four per dice is a lot, but I don't know. It's pretty awesome. So you
I
get
think
22.
I think the four is irrelevant for the extra deck. So like generally we look at that, right? But if you compare it to
Sure.
what other guy you're gonna have, the option is you either have like a 12 elite, who probably had like a 3 point die, but may not have been worth 9 points. Or you have access to an 8 here. So you either get an 8 with him at 22, or you get a 12 with him at 18.
Yeah.
The three you're paying for the 12 is probably not going to be nearly as worth it as the 4 for him. Like the 2 disrupt on him is insane. Like pretty much you don't hit a blank, you're good, and having an 87.5% shot at getting the resource is real high. So
Right. With
activate,
three
yeah,
dice.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
activate. Yeah, 75 otherwise. So 1 in 4 rounds you'd miss the other way, and then this way it's was it 87.5? So that's like 1 in 8. I want to say it's 1 in 8.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
that is interesting to think from a percentage perspective. Like, you get a 12% bump for 4 costs,
Hmm.
which, if you're a math geek, that, like, think about that. Think about that. Oh,
1 in 8 increase.
what an increase.
So
But, it also depends on who's around for 12. Like, like, it might be a really good 12. Like, if you could, like, play this with, like, Elite Ayla, like, let's go, like that would be pretty bust. That would be pretty nice. Versus, for 8, you can't play single Diala, and like, once this guy dies, like, granted he's 14, and he has no real way. I guess he does have the 2 shields, so he can protect himself a little bit.
hey,
And
hey, hey,
when you have 3 dice, like taking that 2 shield feels pretty good.
you know who you get for 8 points?
What do you get?
R2D2.
Oh,
R2D2, baby.
raise the roof. There's your deck right
Hey,
there.
the deck. Djarin R2D2. Let's go. The play and upgrade on this character giving ambush is kind of funny. I don't know if there was anything that was like insanely like busted there, but you pretty much get to activate him, get a third resource. You could play like an Anakin's lightsaber on the R2 and be like, yeah, let's go get this man some shields. He needs some shields. Or let's go play a Chewbacca's blaster on R2D2 because we know how good that is. Mm-hmm.
So there's those cards that, like, if he's not elite, make him elite. I don't know, like, add an extra die.
I think
I'm
those were like
wondering.
3 cost blue things, and they were just rough.
Right. I know, but, like, I'm just thinking out loud, like, what those cards are like, and if, like, the sort of cheats around it where you can put, like, a fourth die on it.
No.
I think that's probably why they went with double elite, because there's probably things that refer to characters being elite, so it's like, oh, he is elite, he's double elite, so that's
Yeah,
why.
that would make sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
But his best
Okay,
side's still the 2 disrupt side, which is kind of crazy.
it's pretty good. I mean, I like a 3. I got like a good solid 3 on my man, so that's pretty nice too. But yeah, 2 disrupt is pretty gross if you can cheat him out.
Yeah. Like theoretically, the instigate plays are also better there because you've increased your odds due to having the third actual die to start.
Yeah.
You're in a worse spot because like I guess if you play a 2 drop upgrade on him and then go, I don't think they have any of the upgrades that can let them activate though. and get the actual action cheat. I'm trying to think like what Dash Rendar could put on him to action cheat. Because it's pretty much like the Dash Rendar ability. Whereas Dash Rendar played a yellow card from your hand giving an ambush. And this let you play an upgrade on this character giving an ambush. No. Han's Blaster activates Han. And it already had ambush anyways.
All right.
Um,
Did we get a child yet? I'm sure he's there, but I don't know if they've spoiled him yet.
Child what?
Baby Yoda.
I didn't pay attention. But
Grogu.
Sorry. Grogu. Baby Yoda. But yeah, so yeah, the Mandalorian as you wanted. And just hope JDG doesn't come and kill us later. But I don't know, it's been like 2 weeks. We should be in the clear, right? You didn't know. You had no idea. Love us. Love us.
Yeah. I
But,
mean, whatever. It's all good.
Any parting thoughts before we end this, Din Djarin, R2D2 shenanigans?
No, I mean, I'm fine with all these cards. I think it's cool. Continuation committee is continuing with their committee and deciding cards that don't make me upset. Like even the zero cost. Like I understand zero costs can be pretty busted. You gotta watch your back a little bit. So, it's fine with me. But the R2 and the C3PO and the Din Djarin is pretty spicy. I like my big man with 3 dice. It's pretty awesome. Great picture too. Whoever chose that picture, it's awesome.
And I want to apologize because I think we probably hacked that name to shit. I didn't watch Did you watch Mandalorian?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Din Djarin. I think that's like.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was
I think
Djarin.
I think the D is silent, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure it was like Djarin. So if it was like Din Djarin. Because I think like Jins, like the Jin, like Mahatma Jin or whatever, from like Magic. So you would say like Ja, and then it might be Rin, like Jarin or Djarin. Anyways, makes no difference.
Ja Rule, baby.
Ja Rule. Oh baby, I haven't heard that in forever. All right, well, I think it's time to call it a wrap. Thanks for listening and seeing us again. Thanks to the community for giving us spoilers and kind of continuing on the game, which we, pretty much all loved.
You know how I feel about droids?
Mm.
What would I be without you?
What would I be without you? Yeah. gotta love it. But on that note, let's call it a wrap. And you guys have a good one. Deuces.